Wasn't there because I don't know what was said.
Right, that's what I was saying, you're gonna be.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Everybody have a chance to read the minutes?
I didn't see anything, Mr. Chairman. Correction.
I move to accept the minutes as written.
It's been moved to accept the minutes.
I'll second that motion, Mr.
It's
Chairman.
been seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0. Any commissioner comments and committee reports? Bill, do you
I
have-
was supposed to have had a project concerned last Friday, but they couldn't get enough members, so they rescheduled for July the 20th. Not project concern, excuse me, juvenile correction. JCAP.
Okay. Jack, did you have any?
I don't have anything, no.
I was supposed to have had an ambulance advisory board meeting Friday, but email didn't get sent out, and due to the fact that we didn't think we were going to get enough people there, we put it off till this coming Friday. So I didn't have anything else. Elected officials and department heads. Anybody got anything? Well, Seth, looks like we'll be ready for you. Come on up.
Alright. What I have is a PO for 18 inch by 30, aluminized culverts by 30 foot long, along with a variety of end sections that we are beginning to replace on all of our culvert ends on the smaller end, ones to try to help with the basically the rock and everything combining it around the tube and plugging tubes up. These will help eliminate a lot of that. And it also helps from the undermining. If the tube does plug up, it has a bar at the bottom of these end sections that go into the ground that helps from that water from eating underneath and going under. So
Is this something that you're doing more now that just wasn't done in the past?
correct.
Okay. So I was thinking that a lot of those.
A few of them they're out there, but not very many. I know the state requires you to put them on the state right of ways. And the more I got looking into it, it does make it easier to clean these things out, along with helps keep them from getting plugged up.
Now, this is just to finish out this year? Or is there gonna be
we're
some-
just out of those. We have townships that are needing the 18 by 30s.
I see. So
The
some of
end
this will be,
section should get us through the year. I believe I will probably need another order of culverts before the end of the year. And I'll try to place those here towards the end of summer. And next year, we're completely redoing culverts. We're gonna do one large order at the end of the year, and that's it.
so the reimbursement from the township, the money will go back into road and bridge general?
Correct.
You got that correctly, what, last year?
Well, this year.
Well,
Starting
this,
year,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to authorize the PO for Seth Howard Road and Bridge in the total amount of $8,805.50 for culverts?
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion on this?
That's a pass-through, correct? We don't charge,
To townships, you mean?
Right.
Charging.
If we give $552, we sell it for $552.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What did we ever come back where a person, or on the road, we haven't been charging sales tax, and we probably should be.
Well, we don't pay sales tax on them, so we just charge them for what the culvert costs.
Yeah, we probably need to look at that.
I would say so too.
I know we had a discussion before where we didn't, if somebody wanted to come in and buy a culvert, are we gonna allow them to buy it just to go anywhere on their property, or does it have to go on the right of way? And I believe we eliminated everything except they're allowed to purchase it for their right of way.
And then you have the problem 20 years from now. Well, I got the tube from the county. That's county tube. It's rusted out. I want a new tube.
Which, that is one of our deals. If there's already a culvert there that is damaged or rusted out or plugged, it's our responsibility to
Replace it.
So more times than not, if they're plugged up, we have to replace them. We don't have the equipment to unplug them, or that's just not feasible to unplug them.
Well, if it's just a field easement, doesn't make any difference.
Anything on the right of way.
So if somebody's going to build new or put in a new field entrance there, do we put in the initial tube, or do they have to buy the first one and then we'll?
They purchase the first one. So a new property without an entrance, they purchase the tube, we place it for them, or they can have a contractor do it. I have to approve the size and make sure it's done correctly at the end of their project. If there is an existing one and they need to replace, we'll replace it no charge. If they want it extended or larger, they pay the difference. If there's already one access to that property and they would like a second one, they pay for that.
That's going to be my question. Okay.
Okay. Well, if there's no other further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0. Faded line.
What time's the next appointment?
1:30.
I mean, I know
Let's give this.
wanted to discuss some of this wildlife and parks deal that I believe she gave you the information on last week.
Yes.
I don't, if we had time, I'd like to
Well,
try and-
we've got 20 minutes here, so I'll see if it's still in the packet here.
I think she took it out back in,
I don't think it's in there. No, it's Cape in it. Nope.
there, you guys have it on real quick. Right. Yes, please. Thanks.
We discussed in the workshop about the salary increase for taking the noxious weed department and also for the responsibilities on the county lake, your increased duties. Does Jamie need to be here for if we make a motion to?
I don't know.
She doesn't need to be, but,
Hmm?
I mean, she doesn't need to be here for that, but she needs to be told.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering real quick. Do we want to address that? Are you willing to accept what we had talked about?
What were we set at the end of that?
It's 3,000 more, and you would be, if there was an increase, you'd be eligible for increase.
Yeah, I can accept that.
Okay. I think we need to go ahead and approve that now, or vote on it now. So, would you like to make a motion, or
To
how do
me,
we?
wouldn't that be when we approve your budget? Wouldn't that be in your budget and then we would approve it? Or
No, because it's starting now. It's not starting 1st of January. The way I get it. I mean, because we're starting in mid-year because of Connie's advancement.
I so moved, Mr. Chairman. And
Well, we haven't made the motion yet,
Oh.
so I could state the motion and do I hear a motion to raise Seth Howard's salary to reflect the increase in noxious weed department duties and county lake duties, increase of $3,000.
So moved.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0. Thank you. Okay. Michelle's in a different desk now.
I am at a different desk now. I started looking into this when I received a check from the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Park. Atchison County is currently under a community fisheries assistance program contract that we have with Kansas Department of Wildlife and Park. It is a governmental grant, a federal grant, that they pay certain people for allowing free fishing. Since we have our county lake and we allow them to have nothing more or in excess of the county or the state fishing license, they can fish there without a permit or a fee. We have to do quarterly paperwork to Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks, but they give us, I think the amount is actually in here, it's like $1,854 per year that goes into a special, it's in a separate fund. This fund has been collecting monies for quite a long time, and I was actually on the phone with David Breath from Pratt in regards to this Kansas Department of Wildlife and Park grant. This is the actual manual. I've been talking to Seth quite a bit in regards to this because this is something that I think Emily can probably handle doing the quarterly reporting. And it is money that comes to us, and when I asked him what this money needed to be used for, because it's been collecting. We've had multiple years of money that have been pulled into this. So there's probably over $20,000 in the fund. I asked him what it needed to be spent on, and he says, well, since you allow free fishing, we give you this grant money, it's a federal grant, you put the money into your account. So I asked him again, does it need to be specific as to what it's spent on? And he said, no. You allow the free fishing with just the state license. We give you the money, you can spend it. It goes into your account. So there's money out there, but this is something that everyone's contracts will be redone in 2017 because it's just a statewide thing. They're going to be redone. Ours actually goes till 19, but he said we can renew it until 19 again, or we can go for 10 years. But in 17, they're kind of redoing the contracts.
I think that's something that we need to watch if we are contemplating the lake, something else, maybe
Right. I did
different management or
ask him.
things like
I
that.
did ask him about that, and he said we would just have to give him proper notification
Okay.
of something that has changed. He did say that we're guaranteed $1,854 a year, but it's a federal grant. If the grant money ever did increase, that we would get the increase, but we would never go lower than the $1,854 a year. So.
I'm surprised we didn't lose that if we haven't been spending it.
It just comes to
Well,
us.
it's just something that can build. I mean, there's not really much you can do with $1,800 a year. I mean, you can use it, just
Well,
not so much. My thought on that money is, I mean, if there's money there, our equipment for out there could be upgraded. I mean, we could buy that one mower. It wouldn't completely cover it, but that'd be something we could save on time out there.
$20,000 to buy a batwing mower.
It should get dang close, so. I'd like to have something still do roadside to it, but yet still do a nice job out there. The one we currently have, it's pretty much on its last leg. I mean, if you drive down Ottawa Road, that was after a brand new sharpened pair of blades, and it barely looks like it's right. So,
Looks like to me, if we're getting a grant for $1,800 whatever a year for fishing, we ought to take some of that money and replenish the lake with some fish.
You know,
That
what
makes
kind of
sen-
fish flourish in a 5-foot lake? I mean, there must
Yeah.
be there must be a fish that does that.
summer fish.
Carp or dog.
What?
I mean, we can do a variety of things for that money. We can try to restock it and see if it works. I mean, I don't think.
Well, I wouldn't go crazy because we know it's not very deep, and we know when hard freeze, there's not much water, and the lake turns over. We had that disease there and lost a lot of fish. But
Yeah, who is there?
we need to put something, whether it be maybe that's where we take and spend $5,000 for camping. Put in some electricity or something like that. Promote the lake. If we're receiving money for the lake, it should go.
And
I was even wondering, I'm
But
sorry,
then
pardon
we
me.
changed it.
we increase the accessibility. I mean, you can see in that brochure there, I believe you can increase your amount for what you put into that lake. So, Frank, I don't know if you.
You mean if you have higher qualifications and more, more accessible? Okay. A couple of things. Will there be anybody looking at that for like algae bloom and stuff in the water? I mean, how are we gonna, now that,
That would probably be myself.
okay.
Going out there and testing that and getting with the wildlife and parks, they'd probably help me. I've never had to do anything with that, but
Or maybe there's somebody that does monitor that for like State Fishing Lake or something that could swing by, or
I'd assume the game wardens probably are trained to go by each of the public lakes and test those. I'm not sure how that works, but I can look into it and verify. I mean, if I need to start doing water testing or looking for that, I can start, but.
I think the accessibility and stuff are fine, but I think maybe be a little more practical on where we spend that is if we could get that log out of the outflow boundary that's stuck in there. So, you know, it may take all of that just to get that. Everything's going over the spillway now because the drain is plugged. There's a log.
Concrete sloughing off or something. So
Well, that's a totally different issue there, but I don't know what it would take to get that out of there. If that would have to
you
be a
said
crane
the gates didn't work anyway, though, do they?
Gates.
The overflow gate, isn't it?
Well, I haven't figured it out yet. I went down there and I moved it. Nothing really moved. There's water coming into the overflow. I just don't know where it's coming from. I haven't seen the log that's wedged in there. So
I heard it's been in there a long time, but I
I'm
think
not sure where it's at. I mean, I've looked and looked and looked, and I'm hoping that water level keeps going down.
In
but I'll get a
August,
better
if
look.
you don't get the rains, you might be able to get the water. 'Cause
But right
didn't
now,
she say he almost got caught, his arm caught or something?
I didn't hear that.
I believe Gail said that he tried to get it out with his hand. He got stuck to the tube.
So, I mean, if we get slow enough, we can see it. We'll take our excavator out there and grab it and pull it instead of having a man down there.
Oh, but I don't know.
Do
but
our rescue people, do they do dive team or anything
I
like
don't believe we have a diver anymore. We used to, and we still may have one that we can call, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, I was just wondering if they were going to do training, that might be a training, if they could just go down and just look and see what's there, even if it would be a regional EMS, if they're just doing training, it would be kind of just.
I can look. I can talk to Les, see if we have anybody we can.
He might would know, but I think something like that would be the most practical to get that fixed first before we go anywhere else. That's just my idea.
I'd like to see a recommendation from Seth, what to spend $20,000 on.
I'll find out the full amount and I'll break it down.
he said a batwing mower.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see.
Okay.
No, we probably need a
break it
more,
up to multiple areas. I mean,
but I think there's probably some multiple. I like Bill's idea of having some fish, and maybe it's in the spring every year. So I mean, you create some youth fishing or something. Kids have a lot of fun catching.
My
those
thinking is if we're making the
sunfish.
money off of fishing, that we need to put a little bit back towards it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
I would definitely go with maybe from now on the yearly, but the build up there
Yeah.
where we've got this larger fund, we would actually be able to do a project, and that's
Yeah.
going to be our decision of
Yeah.
where to go with this.
Well, 'cause it's not a lot of money yearly, and I understand that, but this has been going on. I went back through the records that I was able to find, and I've got reports that have been since 2005. So we're looking at 12 years, roughly $2,000.
so we have a special fund, and that money is there.
There's a special CFAP fund, 681 or something. It's in 168. There's a fund out there, and this money is the only thing that's been going there. There's been, to my knowledge, nothing has been spent out of this fund. And it's not that, I don't think it's been hidden from anyone. It's just the fact that this is just so repetitious. The quarterly reporting has been done. The caretakers or whoever was at the lake was reporting monthly, basically. There's a spreadsheet, and this is the spreadsheet that comes in the packet. And Seth has agreed to go ahead and continue with the reporting of the time used for this. We can continue the quarterly reporting. It's not It's not anything that's gonna be hard to do. It's just, I just wanted everybody to be aware that this is here. The fund has been set up, and I think you guys need to be aware that it's there. So, we'll continue to do it so we can continue getting the funds, because I think as long as we have a place to fish, you know, there's a lot of things you could do for the county lake, the bathroom situation. You could do, like I say, you can put a building up and house, you know, implements there to take care of just that area. Lockbox or something, some sort of a storage shed for a mower or whatnot.
And I may also contact
David?
and see if there's any way we could increase that. I mean, if there's any small projects we could do that would actually help us increase our grant amount to help us fund more of that lake.
I'm pretty sure there is an annual grant that at least we used to get notice of, that was automatic, but it had to be something for fishermen.
I mean, if you'd like, I can start researching for grants for that lake out there, and maybe we can promote it and make it actually something useful. And it can almost be self-sufficient out
Yeah.
there.
Create some awareness.
This is our actual mileages.
Okay.
Because we actually have the
You
mileages
could,
for
you,
our-
like Jack brought up earlier in the workshop, you could take some of that money and get a nice sign made, and, you know, to County Lake and have it a little bit bigger, have it brighter.
Well, even from the western side too,
Yes,
because
yeah, both
there's
sides.
probably as many people come in from the western side now, from right there on the south side of Horton.
Yeah.
Coming
I'll
out
make sure
Kinnicker.
there's signs throughout any intersection you come through from out of town and find it.
With this quarterly report, there is also an in-kind donations and volunteer. So if you guys can get like a 4-H club or a Boy Scouts or something to go out there and make a sign to put there, that would be something that we would be able to apply to the quarterly report. You know, because that's just, you know, it's per
Interest.
hour, however many kids are there, times a per hourly rate that we can report to the state for the report. So if
Somebody-
it's volunteer work, if you have somebody going out there, even walking the shores to pick up trash, that all can be counted, so.
I think the Statler said that there used to be Boy Scouts go out there and camp, and that would be really good, because if they had a community service or something that they were performing while they were camped there, that could be actually kind of almost a payback there, that if we could include that on the report, as long as it was documented.
I know Jeff Shealy was in contact with one of the Boy Scout troops that was camping out there, so I'll get information from him and try to contact them. Maybe we can find a service project for them to do each year out there, if they're willing to do it. And,
Of course,
you know, we
Roger
could always-
Denton is another guy
Correct.
that would be a good resource for that.
And we could you know, even allocate some of that money there for materials for a project that they may be able to create themselves, and we just provide the material for them. So.
I know Dennis Lowe used to be very big in the Boy Scouts, Gerber Electric.
Okay. So
So-
I'll make those contacts and see what we can come up with, and I'll bring
Okay.
up a list of ideas, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
I'm gonna work
Thank you.
with Seth and with Emily, and we'll just kind of keep the reporting going.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thanks. Matt, you gonna come on up? 5 minutes early, but better early than not at all.
I just think we can go 5 minutes longer. So I think I was here a little over a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Since that time, we've written and submitted the grant to the JJA. They approved the grant for about $20,000. This is not quite what we asked for. It's down about $4,000. But I think it was a significant thing. Their total budget for these projects was about $39,000. They're the only Atchison County project that got funded. So I think to get about half of their budget and be the only Atchison County project, I think that's about the best we could hope for. So the grant would bring $10,000 to this project. This is the employee that would work between the school systems and the court services in town.
Excuse me, the grant was for 20, but
Well, this is a project that I've had going on for years that was not associated with this. And so my project continues within the grant, which is $10,000. So this is $10,000 new money.
okay. Okay.
So, does that make sense? I've had a project with JJA going back about a decade. That project has been localized to the alternative school here in town.
And like last year, you got a little over 12,000 for
Mhm.
your grant alone. And then when you're trying to consolidate,
Right, so Susan, the history here, Susan came to me and said, we're losing this position, we don't have this funding, is there anything you can do in your grant to try to help us out with funding? And so I expanded what I usually
Okay.
write. My intent was not to lose the work I've been doing as a part of the process. So we have $10,000 new this year that can be used for this person. 409 has been putting 11,000 into the position for some time. They're comfortable that they can commit to continuing that 11,000. I think Henry, you had asked us to visit with 377. One of you, sorry.
That's all right.
They were supportive of the idea, and so we included those numbers in the grant as well. The way that it would factor out based on the student population in that school district versus our, if they contribute about $3,600, that would balance out people-wise. So between the new money in the grant, the 11,000 that 409 provides, and then 3,600 from 377, that would be a total of $24,600. The current position, salary benefits, the whole shebang was about 43,000. When we initially wrote the grant, we understood that probably coming up with those dollars was going to be hard, so we looked at the position as a 10-month position, which takes the total down to about 38. So between the new money in the grant 409 and 377, we're about $13,400 short of that 10-month position. And so that's the new information I have since the last time we did it.
So basically, you're here asking for 13.5.
I think there's also a possibility, now Susan's not here, Susan's on vacation, so I haven't talked to her. I mean, I think 409 can probably put a little more in, but 11's what they've been doing. Like you guys, school budgets are as tight as anybody else, so that would need to go to her board.
Well, I guess I'll go first. And where I think maybe the program is a good program, I don't think that I would feel comfortable voting for starting basically a new program for the county to fund. Once we would start this, it would we would never be able to get rid of it. I mean, it's going to be an ongoing thing. Are we going to make not just the commitment for this year, but to continue this? Will we get a grant next year? If the grant didn't come through, then we would be not only asked for this much, we would be asked to put in much more. So at this point, I can't see that I would continue the program.
Is this all new money? This isn't, I was under the impression that this position has existed and
It has.
had
Truancy
support in the
officer.
past. Okay.
but none of the money came from Atchison County. It was a
Correct.
Oklahoma
It's
County
new money, but
position.
not a new position.
And in January, Atchison finished out the year for sure, with hopes of seeing what we could get from the prevention funds.
The difference would be Leavenworth backed out of it, didn't they? Where they were picking up.
Right.
So that's why. It's not a new position, but it's new money we got to come up with.
Does anybody remember how much we had to come up with to finish out the school year?
It was maybe $4,000 or $5,000, I think.
I mean, if we try to do it for one more year, if the money's there, and we don't get the grant next year, I mean, it's just like our office down there, we're all grant funded. If we don't get the money, it's not gonna be there.
Well, even this year, this is basically a new program and would be subject to the tax lid. So this is going to be, we'd have to rob Peter to pay Paul because This isn't something that,
This doesn't fall under some kind of law enforcement, or maybe I'm making a stretch there, public safety.
I can't seem to construe that to be law enforcement.
So what are the powers of a truant officer?
Babysitting.
If they hear problems, they let you aware of it.
They do court reports for the courts every week. So that lets the judge, the county attorney know, once a kid is truant, lets them know how they're doing in school, what their grades are, if they're still missing school, if they're tardy. It's also, if she's sitting in court and this kid says one thing, but she knows the fact to be something else, she can clarify anything right then. She deals with every single school in the district. She goes to the middle school, the alternative school, the elementary school, and the high school. Works with the teachers and the staff. She also correlates with community corrections and court services.
Well, I got to tell you, I think this is a great program. But I'm a little bit with Eric here too. We only have so much, and we could raise 1.3% by state statute. We're talking about not giving our employees raises. I would hate to.
Well, just the healthcare alone or benefits can eat that 1.3 up.
Yeah, like that.
You know,
We
because
don't
they
even
are.
know that number yet.
That's another problem too. Is your fiscal year is different, and you're wanting to know, correct? Isn't this?
She's not my employee. She's a county employee. I do approve her payroll, but she's not my employee. So she would not be on my fiscal year. She's going to be on your guys' calendar year. But even though the grant,
That's what I'm saying. The grant
Yeah.
cycle is completely different, and we
Yeah.
would have to give approval for before our budget's even.
right,
That's what I'm saying. You know, we're going to have to make this almost independent of our grant or our budget because it's not due till later. So
It's true.
that's where I'm having some problems too. I'm not saying it's not a good program per se, but you know, at what point do we keep taking these things on? I mean, I don't take it lightly. I mean,
and I don't know if you talk to Judge Asher, if your opinion would change, but he is completely on board with this program, and I know Kat is as well. I mean, they really utilize her.
We do.
So,
The court does. Well, I mean, maybe we need to beat the bushes a little too about seeing if there's some other approach where we could get some part of it funded from another source, or I don't know. Is it possible to have somebody as a part-time community corrections officer and have these duties assigned, just like a probation officer type or something?
well, I tried that route before with the truancy position, and they shot me down every way that I asked. Plus, I'd already done the grant's already done for FY18.
when do you have to know this by, or when does it have to be
Well,
approved
the
by?
new year starts July 1. If it's a 10-month position, which I'm assuming we're talking starting in August.
Yeah.
So, mid, I guess, we're what, 2 weeks away from July 1.
Mm-hmm.
I would say maybe the second, third week of July. I mean, because school starts August 15th. So,
I don't know if we'd be ready to commit by then.
Well, we would have to, I don't know if we would know more about our budget at that point yet or not. do we have any comment from back here? I see
Well,
you're
I'm the
full.
truancy officer. I'm Kylie Ross.
Oh, hi.
And it's a very important program. With working with all the schools and the principals, under my truancy and prevention, I deal with 300 kids. That's just under prevention and truancy. And it's a state statute for them to be in school. And it's really tough, and you really have to work with these parents to make sure these children are coming to school and getting an education. And my prevention part is my biggest list is the elementary school, because we have to start there with the prevention so we can make sure these kids graduate. If we can't start there, they're not going to graduate.
I guess I'm from old school when our truancy officer was our parents, and they made sure that we were there. And
The parents are accountable. I deal with parents every day, and I deal with the kids, and I deal with kids that are under court services too, when they're on probations. I report to their probation officer when they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing. I run a homework club for kids that have grades D's and F's, for kids that are under probations. I do a lot of things for the schools.
And again, I guess that's going back to my basics that we become the nanny state when people are unwilling to take care of their own, and we want the government to step in and take over these positions that shouldn't really have to be.
Parenting's not what it was a while back.
Absolutely.
I venture to guess that if you would look at every problem child's parents, you'd see where the problem comes from.
I'm not saying that this is not probably politically correct to say what I'm saying, but it's what I believe. That I think a lot of this, which shouldn't need to be the nanny state and government directing these children.
We shouldn't, but parents are not doing their responsibility as parents. And then somebody has to step in before we have major issues when they get into their middle school and high school years, and then we're dealing with much more than just not going to school.
But 409 is not under a tax levy.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
No,
it's
they're
all
not
municipalities.
What?
I think it's all municipalities, isn't it?
Yes.
It's only municipalities,
The
counties.
school funding's has been in a holding pattern for a number of years.
But they have the ability to raise their budget to do it by having more mills or whatever, so we're not in that position.
Correct.
So are we saying this is a dead topic? Or are we saying let's talk about this at like the third week of July?
I don't think it'll be very strong without this number coming down substantially.
Okay. And what
I'm
number are
willing
you
to-
guys thinking then?
Excuse me.
What number are you guys thinking dollar-wise? And then maybe we can go back, when I say we, I mean Matt can go back to the schools and.
I don't know. I guess me myself, I don't think there is a figure. It's more the principle of starting it at all. So if they have something, that's.
The school
Well, but I'll listen. Maybe I would definitely say we can talk about it in 3 weeks again, because maybe there will be some brainstorming or something there. I just don't want to, cut it off, but myself. But
I think it's a worthwhile program, but where's the money going to come from? I guess is my big question.
Well, the school district has chosen not to raise their commitment, and they're asking for us a commitment larger than the school district, and this is truancy. Well, I realize it's going to help citizens in the future, but it's still truancy.
So if I visit with the school district and they're able to, between the two school districts, able to put in additional figures, come back?
Yeah, that's good. It'd be cool if they put in $13,500.
yeah,
That'd even be cooler.
Well, that's not going to happen. But
yeah.
I mean, my position is this: I had this relationship writing this grant, and they asked me if I could write the grant differently, and I got an extra $10,000. So, I mean,
I'm like Eric. I'm not going to give you a number. I want to hear what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I wish there was something that I could
sure.
give you.
there's probably nothing in your budget either. You're
There's
pretty,
no, I tried before I even started doing the grant in order to help keep the position, but every time I talked to JJA, I got shut down. So,
Leavenworth County decided to cut this ties. What is their funding? Are they funding? They're not doing this program, or why did they just shut our portion of it down? Did they keep the money for
I
themselves?
don't think the money was coming out of JJA funds. I think the money was coming out of detention funds, because she was also a juvenile intake officer, listed as a juvenile intake officer. So they were getting the funds, I think, from the Leavenworth County. Is
Okay.
where those funds were coming from, not from JJA, other than the no, they were getting some funds for juvenile intake, but she doesn't do juvenile intake. So they couldn't really fund it through there.
Okay. I was just kind of wondering, we had tossed the idea around of being separate,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know whether if we actually would be completely separate from Leavenworth County, which we're not.
We're not for FY18.
Yeah. If we would be eligible for that funding somewhere else if we were on our own. That's just. Do you see what I'm
Depends
saying?
what programs you took. But
Right.
once again, I'm still not going to be able to fund the truancy position through my core grant. The only way they're doing that is through the prevention funds, which is what Matt writes a grant for, is
Okay.
prevention funds.
Okay, I see. That's what I was just trying to think of, an angle of, if we could come at this a different way.
And if I wrote that just strictly as a truancy position, I really don't think it would get funded either. Matt has commingled, or that's probably not the word I would use, but has adjusted it and wrote it in his grant, so that
There
it's
there
covered.
It would
seemed to
fit.
be some political
Yeah.
backlash associated with the truancy position, so I didn't write it as a truancy position. I wrote it as an educational specialist that would work between the schools, the families, and the courts. I mean, anybody reading through between the lines would know it was a truancy position, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't present it in that way.
And for prevention funds, you're not gonna get, well, first of all, we only got not even $40,000 as a whole district anyway for prevention funds. So there's no way you're gonna get enough money to cover that position just solo. It's not gonna happen. We only awarded funds to 3 agencies anyway for FY18 through the prevention funds.
Do you think with a state maybe getting back on track fiscally, will there be any uptick in any increased funding for different programs? Not necessarily this, but in the future.
Well, I
Or?
think in the future there will be, we probably still don't know for sure what's gonna happen with our FY18 money. We got cut in, was it August last year or the year before? So, after the year was final, in July,
Mm-hmm.
then we got cut. So, I don't know.
Okay. Well, any other questions or?
So we come back about the 3rd week of July and see if he's found anything out?
Okay.
Okay.
Give us some time to kind of think about
you
it
may,
too.
you may talk to the schools like it was suggested and see where they're at. They're not gonna come up with a total amount. On another note, last Friday was very, very confusing. I get a text, yeah, we're having a meeting. I get a text from Lucas, no, we're not having a meeting, and I'm having my second child, and it could be the end of July, and Very confused.
I think the meeting is now set for July 20th.
that's what I wrote down,
And
because
I think that it's at our office, but I'm supposed to be at a training that day. So, but, yeah,
Bridget could have did a little bit better job, I think. I was confused.
yeah. Okay.
I just said, well, I don't know, Cheryl saying, yeah, we're having it, and Lucas saying, no, we're not having it. And I thought, well, he's the boss, so I'll listen to him, I guess.
Well, when I talked to you earlier,
That was not a good day to have the schedule.
It's not, Friday afternoons are just not a good time for meetings. So. All right, so
Okay.
if we're looking at the third week of July, we're talking July 20, or no, sorry, I'm on Tuesday, July 18th.
Somewhere in there. Do you want to put?
You know, the earlier the better for me.
Can they come to the workshop versus the?
That'd be great. I like them.
In the mornings?
Yeah.
Come to the
Okay.
morning, Joe.
The workshop room? What time? 10?
10 to noon.
10?
Sure, 10's great.
Okay. So July 18th at 10.
And if I have new information between now and then, I'll pass it on and show.
Sure.
her, and she can-
Yeah, it's always nice to kind of digest. If you see something or have an idea for us, shoot us an email, and that way we can think about it
What
and
do you
digest it.
think? What do you think the issue was with Lebanon County? Because it's not the finances. I know
Well,
they didn't
if
see
they're
it.
paying it out of Leavenworth County funds, but it's an Atchison County program, that'd be like us paying for their truancy position
I
in
know.
Leavenworth, and that's probably what
But
it was.
didn't they cut out their truancy officer as well?
Yeah, they did years ago, though.
See,
They even had a
it's not a
truancy
money.
officer
It's
for
not a
while.
money situation in Lebanon
So.
County.
Well, I think they're wanting to save the money. Sean was a big backer for that program, you know, because he had Atchison ties, and he was just a big proponent for the program. So, but I just think that, you know, the powers that be didn't want to use Leavenworth County funds for an Atchison USD 409 position. So,
I guess I
heard
can.
through the Leavenworth schools that the position didn't work in Leavenworth the way that it did here. That it just never became a functional program where it has benefited, I think, both the courts and the schools in Atchison County. But that, I did my district level leadership practicum in that school district. And that was-
Is this something that we could part-time and partnership up with another
another,
school system, or
well, I mean,
it has to be in Atchison County?
No, the grant is already written as such.
yeah, and I mean, if we get with too many, then she's not gonna be able to do a good job, because she's gonna be constantly going to so many schools, and then she's not gonna be able to spend the time with the kids that need it.
Makes sense.
But a little time's better than no time.
This is true.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll mull it around too and see what.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thanks, guys.
So Matt, you still call the Hawks?
So there you go.
You still call the Hawks?
Call the hot.
Aren't you an Arkansas guy?
No, I'm a Kansas guy.
I got you mixed up with
Yeah,
something else.
that's all right.
That's okay.
Okay, we had, I guess before Peggy gets here, Joe Bowen came up this morning and had a PO for doing ADA compliance on the upstairs restroom. This is mainly just materials and labors to be done in-house, and the cost of the estimate is $4,600.
I believe there is a little bit of labor from Tate Plumbing.
Okay, just for the plumbing, but not for the, that's correct, for the,
3,600.
So there is some labor in-house and there is some labor.
right, but it's an estimate of the total
Correct,
cost
Correct.
in the amount of $4,600. Is there,
I make a motion, we approve the PO.
it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion on this? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pass 3-0.
Go up statewide. Big, we'll have more close, 15 points in the next 9.
I watched this kind of whole home game and I went to bed. I figured they'd win.
I was just gonna FYI moment here. We got a budget request via mail today from NEKES, which is Northeast Kansas Environmental Services, which the ongoing agreement, which has been going on for years and years, is a $10,000 donation or contribution to the multi-county environmental services. So, and they are asking for the same amount again this year. That's Dennis Foster's group. I don't know if you're aware of them or not. Sanitation codes. They're out of Troy, but there's 5 counties involved. I'm on that board. They got a sanitarian, and he also does our nuisance, helps with our nuisance violators. Dennis Foster's peach guy. I was just gonna.
What budget does it come out of?
That's just, what do you call it, outside agencies.
Yeah, they have their own, but we'll surely get a written request form type thing, whether won't we or not.
I don't know if they just. I don't think they've ever submitted anything more than this unless they've been here.
Can we give it back to you guys or Joe?
I'll put it in the blue folder here.
Well, they were here not all that long ago.
Right.
But I guess we didn't really.
Well, we hadn't.
Budget.
Yeah, we didn't talk about budget, but since it's not an appropriation for anything, but just an ongoing, I'm gonna call it, agreement with them there, that we probably don't need to be extrapolated out of what they provide. But hi, Peggy. Come on up.
Ready for it? I have a purchase order that I'm gonna do on the fly. One of our rooftop units went out yesterday, so we've been getting phone bids. So this is the best bid, and it's with Sowers here locally. I didn't want to wait till next week when I had our paper bids. I want to get moving because we're hot. So
Yeah.
it's not cheap, but
No.
we're gonna do a lot of the installation ourselves. We'll use the county bucket truck to get it up on the roof.
Yeah. So it's pretty warm in there, you say, in the
Yeah.
in the whole
yeah,
facility, or?
But no, just because we have lots of rooftop units. This is at the back end towards the great room, which is the
Mm-hmm.
community room, and a couple of those offices back there. So
Okay.
this is only the 3-ton, which is a good thing. So.
She's got a PO from Sowers Heating and Cooling in the amount of $6,884.61 for a 3-ton rooftop unit AC.
You got money in some of your budget.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the bid?
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it.
And it's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0.
So what we'll do is we'll move one of our other capital expenditure, we'll just shuffle, but it will be within operating. And just so you know, my budget is in CIC, it's all done, it's still a profitable one. Nothing's come out of town except that it's allowed by statute.
Okay.
It's all there.
Just give it to Linda.
And one other thing, I'm gonna take a long weekend over the 4th of July, so I'll be gone for 4 or 5 days there. And I'm gonna take vacation in July from July 14th to 21st.
Okay. Something comes up, who's your,
Lisa Mosier is my second in command, and she also has me on speed dial.
okay. Well, you know, you never know when something like this comes up, and
You never know. Yeah,
and then
right.
it's like,
Yeah. No, they'll call me and they'll, yeah.
Okay.
I'll be- Yeah.
it's nice to know who that second person is,
Right.
though.
Yeah.
Do you need that back, or
You want back?
do you need that, or okay?
Yeah, okay. All right. That's good.
Okay.
So that's all I have unless you have anything. I don't have any new news for you.
I was going to ask you any news.
No, I have
Inquiries.
one company, and I can't remember that I told you this before, but they wanted to know what your timeline was, and I said there's no specific timeline. They want the right fit, and so they're going to take something from the right fit. This is what they want, and so that was the last. That was Birchwood.
Okay.
I had that conversation.
So, do you feel they're wanting to speed us up so they could get in, or are they wanting more time to research it more?
I think they wanted some more time to get through their due diligence, is
Okay.
my feeling. And then Marge Cochran emailed me yesterday, the day before Sunday, and said that if it hadn't happened yet, should she still be putting the word out? And I said, oh, absolutely, always put the word out, we're happy for, and then they can just contact me and I'll give whatever financial information they need.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. Did you?
I'd like to say something, I don't care.
okay?
Mhm.
So, yeah, so, yeah, I told her that I'm the point of contact, and they just need, certainly she can put our name out there.
Okay, that
I'll
sounds
take it
great.
From there.
Well, you're kind of in charge, so let's say Mrs. Cochran finds someone suitable and purchases. We've got nothing to what her fee is going to be. Is that something?
There's no agreement, because I just told her she's welcome to pass out our brochure if she wants to, but I will be the person that deals with it. So that's unless you have
Well,
some
I'm
other
thinking, no,
agreement
I'm
with them.
thinking more, not so much as, you're not in charge, but I'm thinking, well, we say it's worth this much. No, I think I should get this much. If you follow my direction.
I do, except we've made no agreement with her, am I right?
Correct.
Not that I
So-
know of.
Yeah, there's no agreement, so.
She wouldn't have any
Legal
legally
stand.
recognizable right
Right.
to.
She could ask,
contribution.
but it's strictly an ask, because my correspondence with her when she asked me about initially was that I'll be handling it all. And if she would like some brochures, I'd be glad to send her brochures. And we always welcome the fact that she keeps our name out there. But I would do that with I say that to Genesis, who is in our building all the time, keep our name out there, so.
I would reiterate with her if the subject ever gets with even close to the subject.
Okay, I will.
Would you agree?
And what I would do is I probably would send all of you a copy of what I'm going to send, and just, if it's, but so far,
I really don't think I have any
everything-
problem with it, but
Yeah, so
it don't
far,
it don't hurt.
everything has been just, do you want me to tell so-and-so that this is, and I say, absolutely. We'll just keep our name out there,
Okay.
so, no agreements, no.
Right.
Clear enough, I mean,
Yes.
okay. Like you said, so, yeah, so,
Okay.
okay?
Good luck with the AC unit.
Thank you.
They never go out in the wintertime, do they?
Funny enough, they're not turned on during the
I would
night.
normally tell somebody going on vacation, bring some sun back with you, but now take some sun with
Yeah,
you.
there you go. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good time if we don't see you before.
Right.
Can't remember if Michelle was on the appointment of Melissa Crane as our appraiser. Do we want to do that today, or is that on the agenda for next week?
The agenda for today, isn't it?
I think so.
Was it? Oh, it is down here. I didn't see it on 8/1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but we don't have the resolution number
Well,
here.
we don't until they're done because we don't want gaps. So if it's not adopted, we don't assign a number to it.
Okay,
At least that's been the practice. So if we have a resolution that's not adopted, it doesn't get a number.
okay. I was thinking that it had to be put on at the time, so
Well,
that is the res,
we do, and she
but
usually
just,
runs over and asks
right.
Linda for a number.
So do we vote to approve it, then go get the number?
Oh, I don't think you need to do that. She'll have to put the number on it today.
Okay. So we have a resolution of the County of Commissioners of Atchison County, Kansas, appointing Melissa Crane as appraiser for Atchison County, Kansas. Do I hear a motion to accept the resolution?
I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed 3-0. That's Linda. Okay, county councilor updates.
Yeah. Couple things. On the tax sale, I guess there are two updates. One, the supplemental tax sale, if you will, which includes just one property. The wind development property is set for July 14th at 10 a.m. That's when we typically have the sheriff sales on foreclosed properties. So it is set.
And that will be just at the jail, or be right out here? Same place?
10 o'clock, you say?
10 o'clock on July
14th. Okay. Is that still subject to being reclaimed,
It
or?
could be redeemed
Okay.
up until the day before the sale.
Okay. I thought it was. I just double checking.
We had talked about a possible eviction action that's not necessary, so it's off my list. The no hunting resolution, you adopted Resolution 2014-1396 back in September of 2014 about county lake rules. And the first rule in there is no trapping or fur harvesting is allowed at the lake. I've done a modified resolution amending that to change that to no hunting, trapping, or fur harvesting is allowed on the grounds of the lake. So that's for your discussion. I also found, as I remembered it happening back in April of 2011, I found the minutes. Joe Lieneman, who had been the game warden, had traditionally, by permission, hunted on landfill property and had asked about hunting there, and the board, I think, thought that it wasn't fair to have one person have access to it, and so they decided at that time that there'd be no hunting on
Is that just different copies of it?
the county landfill property. I did a little thinking, and I wondered if maybe trying to make that more globally, do you just want to have a resolution of no hunting on county property? But I can't really think of any other property other than the lake, and I guess the landfill, where someone might
So that on the
might be
land,
possible.
so how was that worded? It was just on the landfill part, it was just no hunting there, or?
Well, he had just asked, Matt Dorson was relatively new to the position then, and I think he had permission from the prior director.
Okay, so there really wasn't a resolution or anything authorizing or hunting at all? Okay. That's what I was just wondering about the wording.
On the statute on the county lake rules, it does require publication. It does require that signs be made and posted out at the property. So there's some more expense to changing it than what's there now.
Well, I believe the signs are already there, and that's part of what brought this up, is because there was no hunting signs placed and not ever taken up. So there was the discrepancy between what the rules said or didn't say and what the signs did say.
Right. I understand that. There are also signs that have these rules
Oh, okay.
on them, and so those would have to be changed if we did that. It may not be necessary to do that if you just want to. If you want to keep them off of the county lake, if you want to keep hunting from occurring there, you have to go through that process. You cannot. I don't believe that you can prevent all firearms there unless you are willing to supply security, which would be cost prohibitive, I would think.
I don't have anything against the hunters, but yet when you're mixing these people that are fishing, camping, maybe, who knows what, out in the grass, around there having an enjoyable day and with firearms, the more you mix that, I think there's enough open farm ground and stuff that they can hunt without having to have this one location. I haven't heard any, after it came out in the minutes, I thought maybe I would hear about hunting advocates called, but I haven't had any comment.
I think these bullet points I'm going to call are all good, but who's going to enforce them?
Well, there's a couple here that to the horseback riding operation, auto rules and other vehicles at the lake are restricted to maintain roads and to parking areas. When I was out the other day, people were parked down by the picnic tables on the grass. Seemed like it didn't seem like it was destructive. I think that would be a nice thing, but I don't know what there ought to be. And also, do we want people only restricted to 7 days camping? That's a pretty short time.
I didn't read that one yet.
Number 10.
It might be worthwhile for each of you to take it and read it and talk about it in a week or two to change. Some of those probably aren't necessary.
I really doubt if we would have very many people ever want to go over 7 days there without the amenities. Now, if you had electricity and that kind of thing, you would have people be more apt to stay longer.
I think most state parks are like 14 days, but
Your Boy Scout group would probably stay the 7-10 days, maybe. But you never know. But like I said, who's going to enforce this? We're going to have the sheriff running out there to say, okay, you've been here 7 days, and now you got to get up and go. And they spend a half a day moving, and we got a man sitting out there in his car.
Well, I really don't think we're going to have many calls on this. If you have a problem, if you have rules in place, then you have something to go by. If people are abiding by the rules, or if they aren't in the case of the parking, if it's dry and they're parking down there, there isn't a problem. You don't need to enforce anything. But if you have people leaving ruts, then you have to start thinking about enforcement, or if we wanted to have an enforcement, we would have to leave the caretakers there. So I don't know where we,
And we got way too many bullet points to have them put on a sign, but how many of the people's gonna know what the rules are?
these are posted at the on the glass in the front.
These are all posted?
I'm sure they are, yes.
Okay.
They are posted, and that's the reason we put up that sign with a glassed front at the lake entrance. So all announcements and rules and regulations are
Correct,
posted.
okay.
So yeah, I think that's a good idea for us to read these over and think about them, and maybe by then we will hear from the hunting crowd and decide whether we want to.
Well, I could have some input if someone wants to pass any to me. I mean, obviously. What I heard is that people were using the lake because the rules were forced to the letter.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Well,
So do we just leave this go and only bring them out if we need to, or?
that's kind of what I'm saying. Is you don't.
I can't see a problem with a couple ladies that have a little picnic drive down to the picnic table.
Right.
You know, on a hard surface grass field. I mean,
Well, it's like I'd said about the smoking. I had got some grief when we put the no smoking policy there, and I said, if somebody's out in the middle of the lake on a boat smoking, who really cares? I mean, but it's more of, now, if you had a lot of people smoking and they're right around other people, yes, maybe there would be a time
can't
then you have to
smoke
become
you can't smoke at the lake.
to enforce it. What's that?
You can't smoke at the lake?
No, it's a county property.
Oh, I see.
It's when we put these no smoking, that was county property wide. So any facility we have is non-smoking.
I was gonna ask Jill, and I forgot it, you've been making note of this. We had a request from an employee about a picnic table. We was gonna ask Joe his
Oh.
suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't smoke anywhere on this grounds?
Correct.
So you have to go across the street?
Mm-hmm. Isn't that correct? Yes. I mean, that's.
You guys are tougher than the city.
Well, we were supposed to do a lot of more. We were supposed to get some designated areas, and that kinda went by the wayside.
Well, when we put the no smoking policy in, that done away with the designated areas. I mean,
Well, where are they supposed to smoke? If they leave here and they wanna smoke, do they go out there, or do they have to cross the road?
they have to cross the street.
That ain't gonna happen.
Well, I haven't seen the smokers outside. I mean,
If there's smokers in this building, they're smoking somewhere.
yeah.
Because
Out
I'm a prior smoker, I know I'd have found a place to smoke.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything else? An executive session is necessary?
None that I know. Oh, I did forget one thing. The tax sale, I meant to tell you two things. The other is the tax sale was, the previous tax sale where the properties were sold, the one on back in May, has been confirmed by the court, and the deeds will go out 2 weeks from today. So there's a period of appeal, so somebody could appeal that decision, but it's been fully approved by the court.
So all buyers will get a deed.
Unless somebody files an appeal,
Yeah.
which I would
Did she
doubt.
say they're going out today?
2 weeks from today.
Oh, 2 weeks, yeah.
Seemed like to me, if we had that payoff day moved up 2 weeks, we might save some expense, so we let it be known that we're having this sale. And let's say there's 10 people involved, and we gotta run ads, and we gotta do this, and they come up the day of the sale and pay it off, and then we just spend a lot of money and put a lot of people wasted time. Is there any way that we could move that up 2 weeks prior to the sale?
Nope,
That's a
it's-
state law.
It's set by statute,
Oh.
the day before the sale.
That would help, I would think, but what it is, I guess.
Statute protects property owners.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Pat, didn't you say that you had the information on the quarter-cent sales tax on the sports complex that we we call it, refinanced, and I think he was gonna send me a copy.
A summary of that.
I never did get that. I didn't know if you did.
I didn't send it, but
Okay.
you're right. We did talk about it.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, we've got, Michelle had sent out a thing from K-Camp, on their bylaws and interlocal cooperation agreement. I don't know if anybody had looked through that on their emails or not. There's
I read
some,
I read through it right quick.
yeah, there were some changes, and I think that's gonna be on the, I think she's got that on the agenda for next week, that we approve those changes. I think it has to be done by, before the 1st of July. Well, it says, return to K-Camp no later than August 1st, so. I think,
July 11th, required things allocation, sports complex.
she don't have anything down for that. K-Camp,
I think that just came a few days ago,
okay.
so I would
All right.
suggest having it on for either a week from now.
Well,
or 2
after-
weeks from now.
I was surprised when it said, has to be in before August 1st, so we've got, I'll leave that in the blue folder then. Okay. Do the bills and payroll.
Have you seen that new stuff they got on, they call it, I don't know, this is my grant, well, let me show you what your regular looks like first.
Okay.
Face snap or something, I don't know what it's called.
Filters.
Yeah. I gotta get to it now.
You don't come from Kansas.
Just something that was interesting, power for the county lake is $178.
I can't find it. Do what?
The power for the county lake, around Atchison Co-op, so that would be 2 weeks of power would be $178. That's quite a bit of,
Well, that's probably the whole, I'm sure they're behind some.
the bill was $178. Just something that,
It's amazing how much air conditioning you can use if you're not paying for it.
hmm.
And I imagine it's pretty cool out there the last 60 days.
I think you figured that one out.
Linda, we need to send a reminder out to the departments that haven't did their budget to us yet. They need to. And have you been keeping tally, or has the clerk been keeping a tally?
Who's been doing?
Who all's been in and who needs
Yeah.
to come in? We got a bunch outside, but the outsides are easy.
Yeah, but as they've been coming in, I sign and date when they were in,
Okay.
and then I send them to Michelle, and Michelle puts them in our binder.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I'm easily distracted. Okay, with that, is there any other business we need to attend to today? Do I hear a motion to adjourn at 2:21?
I second it, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Passed 3-0.
I don't think we're quite there yet. Well, this is all.
Okay,
Probably at some point we need to
we haven't stopped yet.
set a date for just strictly budgets when we get everything in.